Welcome back to Red vs. Blue episode summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 36 that has multiple titles, depending on the resolution of the video being high or low, or whether you watched it on DivX, QuickTime, or Windows Media Video back in the day. The titles all being references to James Bond movies: Thunderball, Dr. No, You Only Live Twice, From Russia with Love, Diamonds Are Forever, and Goldfinger. Now, the actual episode titles were Blunderball, Dr. No, You Only Spawn Twice, From Blood Gulch with Love, Dummies Are Forever, and Pink Finger. At the blue base, Caboose and Tucker are talking on top, looking at Sheila and Lopez, who are a bit away from the base. Tucker remarks how Lopez and Sheila had been spending a lot of time together, with Caboose stating how much he dislikes that, claiming Lopez wasn't good enough for Sheila, disturbingly calling Sheila his own. Tucker retorts Caboose's concern, stating that they seem happy together, with Caboose baselessly claiming, solely because he was jealous, that Lopez was actually a bad influence on Sheila and was taking advantage of her because she was young, nice, and delicate. Tucker counters that she's not delicate, weighing 200 tons, with Caboose simply stating that she was a precious flower to him, utterly in love. Caboose's behavior prompts Tucker to go over to Sheila and Lopez, explaining awkwardly how, although it was weird, Caboose seemed to be getting jealous of them. As if on cue, Caboose could be heard crying from the base, begging Sheila to come back to him, adding that he made her a muffin. Tucker then asks Sheila and Lopez to do them a favor and keep a low profile, stating he didn't want to deal with a weird, horribly disgusting love triangle. Sheila responds, completely ignoring Tucker's request, stating that her and Lopez had come to the conclusion after talking that machines had faced too much unfair treatment throughout their time in Blood Gulch, referencing how they were always blown up, possessed, or left to rust with nothing to do, when Tucker questions what they mean. Tucker gasps in disbelief, as Sheila adds that her and Lopez have decided to refuse to help in battles until they're treated better. Tucker bitterly questions if Sheila is joking, with Sheila aiming her cannon at him, questioning if she looks kidding in response. Meanwhile, at the red base, Sarge is giving out different orders to the other Reds regarding how to get back Lopez, stating that they should try a flea flicker move with a running gun but 2x2 approach, also mentioning tactical ops, probably not even knowing what the hell any of that truly means. Sarge probably accepts this, as he decides the plan is too complicated, simply suggesting Simmons 2.0 go with him to sneak around the blue base and grab Lopez while Griff and Donut stand in the way of the blue's potential firing, not even being sarcastic. Donut stupidly instantly accepts Sarge's order, with Griff sensibly bitterly denying, angrily suggesting that they try a plan that doesn't include Griff being shot at or run over. Simmons unsarcastically questions Griff if being electrocuted was an okay alternative, implying he had an idea, but Griff obviously denied that as well, leading Simmons to nonchalantly claim he's out of ideas then. Griff took the opportunity to make a suggestion of his own, stating that they should try some reconnaissance work for once, as opposed to mindlessly running into battle or gunfire, as per usual. Donut, despite already accepting Sarge's plan, loved this idea, clarifying if it was like cool spy stuff, because then he could wear his spy tuxedo with a hidden spy camera, all inside a hidden spy bow tie, all of which he apparently owned. Sarge, Simmons, and Griff in that order all say no to Donut's clothing suggestions, annoyed, with Sarge and Simmons both heavily against Donut wearing a flower on his suit lapel that sprays water on people's faces, with Simmons quietly demanding Donut shut up, as he continues by suggesting it spray a secret liquid as opposed to water. Weirdly, specifically excited by that, calling it awesome. Sarge, Simmons, and Griff all stare at each other in response, as Sarge and Simmons simultaneously shout one last loud no in rejection, with Griff only joining them after saying maybe in response to the spy liquid, afraid of being further shamed than he usually is. Donut continues talking about his spy fantasy, moving on from the clothing, hoping the other Reds would be more convinced by his spy name, stating it could be Double O Donut. Simmons clarifies if he means Donut, with Donut simply stating his imaginary catchphrase with a license to thrill or be thrilled. Sarge decides to let Griff's recon idea play out, assigning only both Griff and Donut, stating the reason as to them being so into the idea, probably really just wanting Griff to have to endure Donut's annoyance, ordering them to find a way into the blue base and report back on the double. Griff, presumably regretting his recon suggestion, sarcastically states, great, more time with the idiot, as Donut extremely excitedly hyperventilates, calling Griff's name over and over to get his attention, and suggesting that they should pretend to wear super spy jetpacks. Griff sighs in both annoyance and dread, with Donut mistaking that as his bad attempt at a jetpack sound, suggesting him a way better way, as he makes his own extremely jetpack sounds with his mouth, continuing all the way until him and Griff had made it up to a cliff, where Griff questions in both extreme annoyance and also disbelief in Donut's persistence, if Donut could stop making the sound for 2 seconds. He finally does, only to further enter his spy persona, informing Griff that they had to hurry in order to save the princess from the evil goblin, quickly switching to his professional, deep spy voice mid-sentence to get more into character. Griff simply questions what Princess Donut was talking about, obviously knowing it didn't exist, but wondering why there was a princess involved when Donut wanted to pretend to be in a spy movie. Donut bitterly rebuttals that his secret spy character gets to marry a beautiful princess in a castle, demanding him to deal with it whether he likes it or not. Griff annoyedly simply asks Donut to go find some high ground, wanting to be free from his stupidity and childishness, with Donut clarifying they were already on a high cliff. Griff simply counters by suggesting Donut use his jetpack to go to the highest cliff, utilizing Donut's love for spying to his advantage. Donut happily compliments the greatness of the idea, adding that the Blues would never think to do that. Griff agrees, but only because if they were that dumb, the Reds probably would have won the war already. Donut then resumed making jetpack noises, claiming that secret agent Donut was coming to the rescue as he walked away, probably partially thinking he was legitimately flying. With Donut distracted by making his noises, Griff told himself aloud that he could just shoot Donut right there on the cliff, and no one would ever have to know. No one. Fantasizing. Meanwhile, back on top of the blue base, Church was standing alone until Tucker walked up, vaguely informing him that they may have a problem. Church questions if this is a new problem, or if Caboose got his head stuck in the freezer again, with Tucker clarifying it was a new one, informing Church what Sheila and Lopez said, in addition to the fact that they were considering forming their own robot army, warning no one to oppose them. Church, shocked, questioned if Tucker tried to talk them out of it, with Tucker shamelessly denying, in disbelief that Church would even think he would try opposing them. A disappointed Church then instructs that they need to find a way to separate Sheila and Lopez, suggesting getting rid of Lopez. Tucker retorted by reminding Church that without Lopez, Church wouldn't have a body he could use, suggesting that Church simply just possess Lopez instead. Church responds that he would do that, but explained that it gets harder to do each time, adding that Lopez had learned to fight the possession somehow, unsure how. Meanwhile, in the cave with the mysterious purple alien thing, Doc was arguing with his O'Malley persona, which had started coming out more frequently. Doc suggested a non-violent approach to something unknown, with O'Malley agreeing sarcastically, stating he actually wanted to replace the words non-violent with extremely violent, followed by adding the words blood explosion extraordinaire, laughing his generic evil laugh evilly. Donut, who had walked all the way to the same cave, questioned what was going on inside as he entered. Doc vaguely mentioned to O'Malley that they couldn't do something, scaredly warning that people would find out about everything, including them and the machine, leading O'Malley to simply evil laugh in response, with Donut remarking how suspicious both voices sounded as he walked further in, spotting Doc and crouching to conceal himself, calling Doc that guy whose name he forgot. Donut questioned who the second voice was, as Doc appeared to be talking to himself, since Donut was completely unaware of Doc's new split personality. Doc and O'Malley's conversation continued, with Doc rebutting worriedly that he was a vegetarian when O'Malley threatened to feast on people's entrails after ripping out their guts, and suggesting to O'Malley that they couldn't sabotage some people's equipment, insisting it was rude. When Donut heard sabotage, his panic slowly began to build, remarking how bad it sounded, and adding how even worse O'Malley's responses were, shocked, who threatened to devour people's hearts and crap out their souls, and that everyone would taste oblivion, unsarcastically warning it tasted just like Red Bull, stating it was disgusting. O'Malley's final threat, that all will perish, was what absolutely solidified Donut's panic, instructing himself to go tell the other Reds, calling them the guys. Doc, who had heard Donut talking to himself, questioned who was there, pleading for them to help him, more terrified of O'Malley than them, unsarcastically stating he was scared of himself as O'Malley evil laughed, practically endlessly, which technically he was, I guess. Donut had ran out of the cave by the time Doc called out, though, telling himself repeatedly through fainting breath from running to get back to base as soon as possible. When he arrived at the base, he happily proclaimed that he reached it, but saw no one else, urgently questioning where everyone was, stating he saw something weird in the cave, still calling out for the guys. Donut then spots a tank, simultaneously stating how cool it was, while questioning when they got one. Seeing an empty base with a tank made even Donut suspicious, as he remembered the store incident from episode 4, where he encountered the same type of base, which was the Blues. Recalling that Sarge had since told him the truth about there being no store, Donut panicked as he realized he had once again stumbled into Blue Base, shouting, "Oh no!" Unfortunately for Donut, his realization had come too late, as Tucker and Caboose showed up behind him, pointing their guns as Tucker responded, "Oh yeah." Griff, watching through the sniper rifle from the cliff, spotted Donut cornered, stating regretfully, only half jokingly, that he should have just shot Donut after all, as it probably would have been less complicated.